The word of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam must come true. Must come true. Once the conquest of Constantinople takes place, then we know what's going to happen after that. The Khuruj of Dajjal. In between the two, in between the Malhama, or the Great War, and the Khuruj of Dajjal, meaning Dajjal, the false Messiah appearing in human form. Between these two events is part 3 of the drama, Pax Judaica. Pax Judaica. And in Pax Judaica we know already, if that, the first stage there was that monetary system with the British pound, and in this stage there was that monetary system with the US dollar, that in stage 3 you must have a new monetary system. I mean, you don't need much intelligence to know that. What will be the money system in the 3rd stage? We know already it's going to be invisible money, electronic money. I always wanted to know how you could have electronic money after a nuclear war, until somebody from Saudi Arabia came and told me, Sheikh, don't you have any sense? You have underground cables. The underground cables can survive the nuclear war. So the wireless internet will not be there. But you'll also you still have the internet through the underground cables, okay? So this is how the banking system will be able to survive, but I am getting the impression that they don't need the banking system anymore, they need only the central banks. The world will be ruled by the central banks. So your little bank here and your little bank there and your little bank there, goodbye. Central banks take over. And they control the central banks of the world. In fact, they own many of the central banks. The Russia's central bank is owned privately. The Federal Reserve is a private bank. Why did they make it a private bank? Why? Because they want to rule the world through the banking system. How do we respond? How do we respond? My answer is, as soon as the Malhama takes place, leave whatever you are doing. Make provisions for your wife and children, and join the struggle for restoring the Khilafah state. The Khilafah state is easy to understand. Understand that it is simply a state in which Allah's law is supreme. That's all. So it can't be a member of the United Nations organization. No. Can't be a member of the International Monetary Fund. Most of our people seem to be comfortable as members of the United Nations. Comfortable as members of the International Monetary Fund, etc. Leave them in their comfort. Those who are the servants of Allah, those in whose hearts there is love for Allah, whose hearts beat for the truth, that the truth must prevail, that the truth must be used to govern, that the truth must be used to judge. These people must now wage the struggle to restore the Khilafah state. So long as Gog and Magog control the world in the world order of Gog and Magog, you could not survive as a Khilafah state. And once you are destroyed, you cannot be restored. They're too powerful. The Khilafah state of the Ottoman Empire was, of course, bogus in many respects, but it still had some of the trappings of the Khilafah state. And that was abolished in 1924. From 1924 to now, almost 100 years, no Khilafah state in the world of Islam. But in the hearts of those who still have love for Allah, the Khilafah state is still there. They have not surrendered the Khilafah state. Their excellencies have done it. Their majesties have done it. Government has done it. Bureaucracy has done it. They don't care for the Khilafah state. It's not a part of their agenda. But in the hearts of those who sincerely worship Allah, the Khilafah state will never be surrendered. So we say to them, you could take that and put it in your pipe and smoke it. You cannot destroy it in the hearts of the servants of Allah. No. And on that day when this big war starts, on that day every servant of Allah is going to mobilize himself. The women will mobilize because they'll have to take charge. They'll have to find the ways of maintaining the family while the men go out. And you're going to struggle to restore the Khilafah state. Can it be done in the Arab world? Can it be done in the Arab world? No. Sorrowfully so, no. Why? Because he had the dream. He had the vision. And this is part of the plan, that sometimes we have to sacrifice for the sake of the truth being triumphant. And so the Arabs are going to be destroyed. And so the Khilafah state will have to be restored from the non-Arab world. Where will it be? When will it be restored? I don't know. Even if it cannot be restored until Imam al-Mahdi comes, never mind. Never mind. But let the world see that the servants of Allah in the world of Islam, that the servants of Allah in the Orthodox Christian world, these two families, the Orthodox Christian world and the world of Islam, that we have not surrendered the Khilafah state, not the Orthodox Christian and not the Muslim. And we're going to wage a struggle to restore the Khilafah state. Is this a state that wants to conquer the world? Is this a state that wants to rule the whole world, like Pax Britannica and like Pax Americana, you know, with corruption and destruction and rivers of blood? And you come to teach us? We are the natives, and you are the elite of mankind, and you want to teach us in your Oxford and your Cambridge and your Sorbonne and your Harvard and your Yale and all the rest? No. Our Khilafah state does not want to rule the world. Our Khilafah state does not want to oppress anyone. You are the ones who are the oppressors, not us. Our Khilafah state simply wants that on Allah's earth there should be peace and security for all. Peace and security for the Hindu, peace and security for the Buddhist, peace and security for the Jew, peace and security for everybody. A world of salam. That's all we want. A world of salam. Allahu yad'u ila daris salam. And when there is oppression on the face of the earth, when there is aggression on the face of the earth, the Khilafah state cannot sit down and have biryani and go to sleep. No. The Khilafah state will respond. And we will explore and exhaust all possible peaceful means of removing the aggression and removing the oppression. And when we have explored and we have exhausted all possible means of resolving it, and we fail, then we fight you. Then we fight you, not before. So this is not a state that's hungry for war and lusting for war the way you are lusting for the great war now, which you could start maybe next week or next month. They're lusting for it. Their people are going to be killed. Millions are going to be, they don't care. They don't care two peanuts that their own people are going to be killed. No, they don't care. They only have one lust in their heart. They want to rule the world by the hook or by the crook. But our Khilafah state does not want to rule the world. No. Our Khilafah state simply want to have a world in which there is peace and security for all. That is the Khilafah state. And so we end now. This is enough for today. We have presented to you an Islamic eschatological view of the world today. We have not attempted much about the world tomorrow, except to say that from the time the war starts, on the day that the war starts, life is going to be different. May Allah take these words all over the world of Islam, and may Allah take these words also to our brothers and sisters all over the Orthodox Christian world, because we are one family. You and us, we are one family. And that we may now wage the struggle to restore the Khilafah state somewhere on Allah's earth. The Khilafah state being defined as a state in which Allah's law is supreme. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Imran Hosein, for your insights and view. Okay, we would like to open for questions and answers. If you have any. Anybody?
Nuruddin, can you get me a copy of methodology, please?
I have a question regarding your the impending attack by Turkey on Syria. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit on the significance of Syria towards Russia or its conquest of Constantinople.
You're wondering if I could explain what?
The significance of Syria?
The significance of Syria to Russia.
That would trigger...
The significance of Syria to Russia.
That would trigger.
Huh?
Significance of Syria to Russia, that would trigger the flashpoint.
The significance of Syria to Russia, that gentleman you're seeing there at the corner is Maurice Herman. Yeah. Who is dressed like a sheikh today, mashallah. Welcome, Maurice. Yeah, welcome, Maurice, yeah. You have a nice hat on your head there. Good. Maurice flew all the way from Cambodia to come to Malaysia to interview me this morning. And he's back, he's now here tonight as well, so we are very happy to welcome you, Maurice, yeah. Syria occupies a position of paramount importance to Russia as a Christian people. If Russia was an atheist state, then Russia would have no interest in Syria, no. Why should we endanger the state of Russia itself for the sake of Syria? They are an Arab people. They're not Russians. Is it in our national interest to put down Russia for a world war over Syria? The answer is that Russia is Christian, sincerely Christian, not part-time Christian. And Russia considers Syria to be at the heart of the Orthodox Christian world, that this is the last remaining part of the earth which we must save and salvage. If Russia did not intervene in Syria militarily, then Syria would have become already another Libya. And there are many, excuse my language, there are many jackasses in the world of Islam, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in the Arab world, Turkey, all over, who would celebrate if Syria were to become another Libya, because they consider that to be a valid jihad. These jackasses believe that you can have a valid jihad with weapons being supplied by Santa Claus. Yeah. And Santa Claus providing all the money, usually US dollars, and Santa Claus providing all the logistical support and the training, military training and so on. Everything from Santa Claus. And that is a jihad? Is that your intelligence? No. It's a bogus jihad. And as a consequence, I normally don't call people fools. I try not to do that, yes. But you are a fool with a capital F for taking weapons from NATO and taking weapons from the Americans and calling yourself a Muslim to go and fight your bogus jihad in Libya, in consequence of which today Libya is a NATO state. We don't want to see your face. We will never pray over your body. We'll never stand at your grave. Do you hear that? You can kill a man if you want, but you cannot kill the truth. Remember that. You kill and you kill and you love killing. So go ahead and kill as many as you want. But we're telling you, you cannot kill the truth. And we're prepared to die. We're not afraid of death. If the Russian people are not afraid of death, why should we Muslims be afraid of death? If the Russian Christian, Orthodox Christians are showing such mettle today, they're not afraid to die. Why should we be afraid to die? And so the reason why they're there in Syria is to save Syria from being another Libya. If Syria were to become another Libya, there is a large Christian community in Syria, an old Christian community in Syria. And these Christians in Syria, some of them are Western Christians, but many of them are Orthodox. I think these bloody, bloodthirsty Dajjal's warriors waging their bogus jihad would have slaughtered every Christian in Syria if they had succeeded. But we thank Allah, we thank Allah that Russia intervened. Governments, of course, don't believe that we are right. No. The governments believe otherwise, and they vote in the Security Council otherwise. But we have a different view. And we say that we are grateful to Russia for having saved Syria from becoming another Libya. There's another aspect to the analysis, of course, and that is that in Syria there is a Russian naval base on the Mediterranean Sea. And that's the only warm water naval base that the Russians have other than in Crimea. If Russia were to lose that base in Syria and it were to become a NATO base, it would be a massive embarrassment for Syria. Any more questions or comments? Oh, you haven't had dinner yet, okay. Yes. You can sit down, you can sit down.
So in the case of a possible war between Russia and Turkey in Syria, for example, so who should we support as Muslims?
Okay, if the war breaks out, the war takes place, and on the one side you have Russia, and on the other side you have Turkey. Who should we support as Muslims? Are you aware that Turkey is a member state of NATO? Are you aware of that? Are you aware that Allah has prohibited that in the Quran? Prohibited that in the Quran? Yes? Or you don't know? Oh, let me tell you then. Allah speaks in the Quran about two kinds of Christians. He says about one of the Christians that they're going to become the closest in love and affection for you Muslims. And he gives us ample means by which we can identify them as the Orthodox Christians. But then he speaks about another kind of Christian in the Quran. And he says, لا بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض. Meaning, and this is why I need you to read this book. This is my latest book, Methodology for Study of the Quran. I don't want you to read this book alone, I want you to study it. Study it, okay? Do not take such Jews and do not take such Christians as your friends and allies, who themselves are friends and allies of each other. بَعْدُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. And if any of you turn to them with friendship and alliance, as Turkey has done, not the Turkish people, Turkish government, you now belong to them, you've left us. You've now belonged to them, you've left us. So who should you support? Turkey has joined NATO. Turkey is a part of NATO. NATO is the military arm of a Jewish-Christian alliance in Europe, European society, Western civilization. The Quran is speaking about that, prohibiting you. So we cannot support Turkey, which no longer is a part of us. It's joined them. Okay? Whereas Russia is standing up to the oppressor, resisting the oppressor. And NATO is the oppressor. In a war between the oppressor and the one who is resisting the oppressor, if a Muslim stands aside and says, I am not involved in this, what kind of Islam is that? You're supposed to support the victims of oppression. You're supposed to support those who are standing up to the oppressor, because Allah gave to this ummah a mission. Amar bil ma'ruf wa nahi anil munkar. When it is something that is right and is just, stand up for it. And when it is unjust and false, stand up against it. Don't eat biryani and go home and sleep. So you have to support Russia, because Russia is standing up to the oppressor. Any more questions? Yes.
I was just wondering, Sheikh, can you share something from Iran? Because they are also not Arab and they have been a long ally of Kashmir.
Yes, there are two forces in Iran. Two faces of Iran. One with which we are very comfortable and happy. When Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was the president of Iran, every Muslim around the world loved him. He commanded the respect of all Muslims. A simple man. When I met him, here is the chair for the man who is former president. He sits about there, and we have other chairs, and we're just a group of about 15, 20 people. He didn't sit on the chair for the head. He came and sat on another chair. And he's wearing a leather jacket, you know, like when you go on a motorbike to go. That's how he was dressed. A man of utmost simplicity, a very lovable person, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. So long as he was in charge of Iran, they couldn't make a deal with him. They could never make a deal with him. Okay? That's the face of Iran we love. And there are many in Iran whose hearts beat for that age that is now gone. I don't want to say anything more. Any more questions? Yeah.
In Greece and Cyprus, there is a good community of Christian Orthodox. There's even a monastery in Nazar. So, do you see any significance to the Christian Orthodox community in that part of the world?
I have understood at all. Maybe leave the microphone. Yeah. Yeah.
There is a community of.
There is
A strong community of Christian.
a strong winty. What's a winty? A strong community. Okay. There's a strong. No, leave the microphone. Yeah.
Strong community.
There's a strong community
of Christian Orthodox.
of Orthodox Christians. Where?
In Greece.
In Greece.
And Cyprus.
And in Cyprus.
They even have a monastery in Mesonogi.
They have many monasteries, many, yes.
So, do you see any significance in the role that the Orthodox Christian in that part of the world?
In Greece and in Cyprus, the opportunity exists mostly, more in Cyprus than in Greece, if we have scholars of Islam, to reach out for fraternizing with the Orthodox Christians. And I'm happy to recognize that Sheikh Nazim's Naqshbandi, the Naqshbandi silsila of the Sufis are doing that in Cyprus. I got the evidence and I commend them for that, yes. Nobody else is doing it. Reach out to the Orthodox Christians, build friendship and fraternity and solidarity with them in Cyprus, and that will send a message to Greece and to other parts of the Orthodox Christian world. And this is a time when we ought to be doing it. Yes. Any more questions or comments? Yeah.
Assalamualaikum. I have a comment and a question. My comment is on the context of the Malhama.
The Malhama?
Yes. From my point of view, and I've done a lot of extensive research on this particular context, what I believe, this is from my own point of view, my own perspective, that the Malhama, it will be triggered not in the use of nuclear weapons of mass destruction, because I believe if they were to, the Malhama were to trigger with the use of nuclear weapons, I believe that it will not be able for the Pax Judaica to restart civilization.
Okay.
Because, let's say, there was an all-out war. A nuclear fallout with that all-out war with Russia and America itself will be enough to destroy
the whole world.
The whole world.
All life will be destroyed. Yeah, okay.
Because just take one consideration, one nuclear weapon will be enough just to destroy Israel during that Malhama.
Okay.
But I believe, and I think that you might need to reconsider, that the Malhama will happen, and the weapon that they will be using will be cyber weapons.
Okay.
I've made extensive research where there was an operation that was carried out by NSA and CIA. It was called Operation Dark Winter, where they made a simulation, a supercomputer simulation of this scenario, where the use of cyber weapons, and they've actually used it previously during the controversy of Iranian, during the controversy of Ahmadinejad building this nuclear reactor, right? Where they've used one of the most powerful viruses ever built, where it's able to destroy the centrifuges of the nuclear reactor in Iran without any scientists in Iran knowing that it was the virus was causing those nuclear reactor to, I would say, break down. And they themselves made a statement where in Iran, without any knowledge from from the government of Iran, that there is a super weapon, a cyber weapon that's being developed by NSA and CIA. It is called something is called Zeus weapons as a cyber virus, where it's able to dismantle the entire nation, every critical infrastructure even the military and telecommunication, without ever destroying it, but enough to invade the country without the country able to retaliate.
Okay, will it create no sunshine? Can cyber weapons block the sunlight?
No, it will not.
Okay.
Right.
When the Malhama takes place, there is a surah of the Quran you might want to read. It's called Dukhan.
Yes.
Dukhan. Smoke. The reason why it's there is because when the Malhama takes place, there's going to be what the Quran calls smoke, okay? Covering the whole earth to such an extent that our Prophet, Allah's blessing be upon him, has said that there'll be several days of no sunlight. And I am unaware. I don't know what are cyber weapons. You know better than me whether cyber weapons can block the sunlight from coming. All right, whether it's going to be nuclear weapons or not nuclear weapons is academic, really. What is going to happen is going to be the war like no other war has ever been. And 99 out of every 100 of the combatants will all be killed, okay? My view is that you have to be, it cannot be conventional war anymore. It'll have to be a new kind of war. My view is it's a war of weapons of mass destruction, and he has introduced a new kind of weapon called cyber weapons, of which I am not aware. So let's leave that subject to see what's going to happen in the future. Any more questions or comments there? Okay, that's it.
You mentioned two cases, Britannia and American.
I mentioned two cases.
Two cases.
Two cases.
Phases.
Two phases.
Yeah, before the third phase materialized.
Two phases. Okay,
yes, right.
The first phase of Pax Britannica.
That's correct.
The second phase of Pax Americana.
That's correct.
And you want to know about the third?
No. Now the first is Britannia. They're making presence in Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar. And the second phase, which you mentioned, America, they're making presence in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now, how would that impact on the third phase, which you mentioned? They're making presence in Bahrain, Qatar, and Afghanistan,
No.
which is outside from your...
No. First phase ended. The first phase ended. Pax Britannica is no longer in existence. First phase is gone.
Gone, right.
Gone, finished.
Finished.
During the time that they were Pax Britannica, they control every single strategically important naval port everywhere on the face of the earth because there's no aerial warfare at that time. Okay?
Right.
When Bretton Woods took place, at that time, Pax Britannica had to recede at Bretton Woods, and Pax Americana took over officially, the US dollar replacing the sterling pound.
Right.
Pax Judaica is about to replace Pax Americana. It cannot take place while the US dollar is still the international currency. No. There are some who are saying that Pax Judaica has already started. Yes, I said no. So long as the US dollar still continues to function as the international currency, Pax Americana has not as yet ended. I am not in a position to analyze concerning the location of military bases and so on. I'm not a military strategist, I'm an eschatologist.
Correct.
Well.
So, since you mentioned that they're actually not, they're not in control, they're not moving to the third phase, why are they making presence back in that part of the world? And that part, that means what I'm trying to say is, if they're making presence, it's insignificant because they are no more in control. Or
Okay.
is it why are they surfacing
Okay.
these two boxes? When you mentioned that
I don't see two boxes. I see a concentration of the power of Gog and Magog in and around the Holy Land. That's what I said. In and around the Holy Land. based on the hadith that the first of them would pass by the Sea of Galilee on their way to Jerusalem and start to drink the water. And by the time the last of them passed, they'll say there used to be water here. So the power profile of Gog and Magog is continuously declining at the north and continuously increasing in the south. So when the war takes place, the backbone will crack in the north. That's why you have the conquest of Constantinople possible. But their control of the south is such that the Arabs are going to be destroyed.
Okay. Then, since you have mentioned that, can I say that the Afghanistan and Pakistan and that presence actually is just a diversion, whereby the main issue is actually that part of the world?
The main issue is
because people are diverted in that box.
I'm not interested in boxes. The main issue is the Holy Land and around the Holy Land. That is the crux of the problem.
I understand.
The Arab world is at the heart of the subject, and the Arabs are going to be destroyed.
Right.
I said to you that as the concentration of the power of Gog and Magog is located in the Arab world, in and around the Holy Land, the periphery is becoming weaker for Gog and Magog. And it will be the non-Arabs who will have to struggle for the restoration of the Khilafah. And that includes Afghanistan, that includes Pakistan. I simply don't understand your question, I'm sorry.
Okay. Maybe I'll okay. No, hold on. Okay, today, if I was not present in this session today, and I'm a reader of that who reads Times and wherever it is, I'm making assumption that the big wars will be Afghanistan and Pakistan and that part of the world, and not knowing the fact is that part of the area. This is what I'm trying to say. I mean, you are now diverted that the big war
the big war is the Malhama.
Okay.
The Malhama is most likely going to start with a Turkish attack on Syria. I said that. But whenever I give an opinion, you know the rule.
I don't know.
The rule is don't accept my opinion unless you're convinced that I'm correct, because I can make mistakes, okay? I don't trust the Turkish leadership at all, and I don't think the Russians trust the Turkish leadership as well. So I am expecting that the war will commence with a Turkish attack on Syria, but I can be wrong. The war will be fought in that terrain, north of Damascus, between Syria and Turkey. That's where the war will be fought. But the war will also be fought in the area of the Black Sea. Okay? And it will be a war between Russia and Turkey. But because Turkey is a member of NATO, it'll be Russia versus NATO. China is not going to be standing aside of that war, so Russia will be supported by China. And Iran will be supporting Russia and China, I believe, because the military in Iran is not controlled by the president. The military is controlled by the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. And he has his heart in the right place, yes. Any more questions? Is this the last question? One more. Okay. Is that accepted? Everybody? Thank you.
In the Quran, Allah talks about how the Byzantines were defeated by the Persians.
In the Quran, Allah speaks of how the Byzantines were defeated by the Persians, yes. In which surah?
Surah Rum.
Surah Rum, correct.
From a time span of 3 and 9 years, they would reclaim and they would be victorious again.
Fi bid'i sinin, yes. Fi bid'i sinin, they will be victorious. Go ahead.
Is there a repeat in history of what happened in the old Crimean War when they were defeated and they reclaimed it in 7 years?
This is a very difficult question. The Quran goes on to say, this is connected with Surah Rum of the Quran, the opening verses of Surah Rum. And while I cannot mention his name, the questioner, for security reasons. He is directing our attention to the beginning of Surah Al-Rum. And in that opening passage of Surah Al-Rum, Allah says, "Lillahi al-amr min qabl wa min ba'd." Lillahi al-amr min qabl wa min ba'd. That Allah's command is going to be triumphant, will prevail on two occasions, on a former occasion and on a latter occasion. And it is quite possible, and Allah knows best, that the triumph of the Byzantine Empire over its rivals, which took place at that time, can then be repeated. Orthodox Christianity will again be triumphant with Allah's help on a subsequent occasion. This could be coming soon, yeah. Allah, one more question? The last one, eh? Oh no, we have two now. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, you made a deal with me.
Yes, I just want to ask about you mentioned about Naqshbandi in Cyprus.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if they are actually practicing the correct Quran and Sunnah.
Oh no, I am not going to speak about whether this group or that group or that group are good Muslims or not. I'm not walking down that road at all. If anybody does something right, even if his name is Nawaz Sharif, I would say it's right. Yes. And because the Naqshbandi, whether people like it or whether they don't, is irrelevant to me, absolutely irrelevant to me, your likes and your dislikes. If the Naqshbandi Sufis extend a hand of friendship to the Orthodox Christians in Syria to try to build friendship and reconciliation and alliance, it's time for me to say they're doing the right thing and you better follow them. Next question, please.
I just would like to comment that I think Dukhan will be caused by a meteorite crashing.
Dukhan, okay. Are you British?
No, I'm not. As I was saying, in my opinion, I think it will be caused by a meteorite crashing to Earth.
The Dukhan will be caused by a meteorite.
Yes.
Yeah?
Crashing to Earth.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Also, you mentioned about electronic.
Oh wait, you're asking two questions, huh?
No, that was just a comment.
A comment, okay.
Yeah, my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, I need to understand because you mentioned we are going to go back into time, old times, where gold and silver will be used as the current money. How will that come about? Because we're now talking about the electronic money.
Yeah. When the US dollar collapses, the balloon bursts, if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find 3 lectures on money, just delivered in Sitapak. The first was what is money in the Quran and Sunnah. The second was what is money in the world today. And the third is entitled Beyond the Petrodollar, an Islamic response to the bogus monetary system. Okay? And in that lecture we said Israel cannot claim to be a Khilafah state unless Israel is using gold and silver as money. When that day comes that Israel brings back gold and silver as money, I hope I'm not alive. May Allah take me away from the world, because the shame and the disgrace will be too great for me, for my heart. My heart will burst. That these people have to bring back dinar and dirham, while our people were eating biryani and going home to sleep. The shame and the disgrace will be too great. So I ask in that lecture that all those who hear my lecture, go and ask your scholars of Islam, Wherever you can meet them. Even if you can't meet them in person, you can send an email to them and ask them politely so. We don't see this money in the Quran and Sunnah, no. The money we are now using, is it halal or is it haram? And we don't want a private answer. We want an answer that we can publish, okay? So you put some pressure on them. If they say we don't know, you can ask them, well, how long will you take? We want an answer. You can't remain silent forever. No, okay? In the meantime, if it is possible to have money which is redeemable in gold, like Ahmad Sukarno attempted in Indonesia, that's why they overthrew him, that the Indonesian rupiah would have been redeemable in gold, that you could go take it to some office and collect your gold, redeemable in gold, then the Indonesian rupiah would have been halal. It's like a check. You can cash the check, okay? It's redeemable in gold. Perhaps if that can be done, then that would be a solution to the problem. However, they cannot allow anyone to succeed. Because if one country were to succeed, it will bring down the whole monetary system. So they will wage war to prevent you. That's why they attacked Libya. They wage war to ensure that you do not establish a monetary system in which your money is redeemable in gold and silver. Okay? We said that an alternative could also be where you establish markets in which you use actual gold and silver for buying and selling. We just had Eid al-Adha, Hari Raya Haji. And in Hari Raya Haji or Eid al-Adha, you have to buy animals to sacrifice. So I don't know what you use, whether you use ringgit or rupiah or whatever. I use dinar and dirham. Yes. I bought my animal with dinar and dirham. Yeah, and then we had the sacrifice. If we could encourage this is a micro response. Before the war takes place, okay, make sure you have at least 100 dirhams at home. It may be 2 dirhams a day for food, 2 dirhams a day, depending on the size of your family. So at least for 50 days you have food. Make sure you have at least 100 dirhams at home. And if you can have some dinars as well, alhamdulillah, that's even better, okay? This is another response that you have. Finally, we said that one of the prophecies of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is that in the end time, the earth will vomit from its liver columns of gold and silver. The likelihood is that this will take place in Indonesia. Yeah, because of the volcanoes of Indonesia, they call a ring of fire. And these volcanoes are all already producing gold in Java, okay? When that gold comes into the world, that gold can then be used to fight the monetary system. Yeah, I think that's enough for today. Please study this book. We're going to put on my website a comment section where you can write your comments on this book, and we'll put it on our website, inshallah.
All right, thank you so much for all the questions and comments. Thank you very much, Sheikh Imran, for the session tonight. Okay, so for those of you that have not had dinner, please help yourselves. And for those interested in buying Sheikh Imran's books, there are some outside. If not, there are more in our bookstore, inshallah. And for your information, we do accept dinar and dirham for all the transactions in the bookstore, inshallah. So with that, thank you so much for coming here tonight. I end this with Wabillahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.